So hello, welcome to this demonstration of the listening and being listened to exercise. I'm here with Christiaan Zandt, and Christiaan is in his home in the northern part of the Netherlands. Welcome, Christiaan.
Thanks, Ike.
We've done a little talking about this and setting this up, but the scenario that we're working on is that Christiaan and I are friends, and we are practice partners, and as practice partners, we've set aside a time, and we've agreed that at the time that we're going to practice this week is going to be on this listening and being listened to exercise. So we've set aside about an hour or so as a typical kind of practice time to set aside, and then you make these agreements, and then you decide who's going to go first. So we've already decided that Christiaan's going to go first. Now, I want to give some background on Christiaan and let Christiaan have a moment to speak here. Christiaan and I have co-facilitated these workshops in which we've taught this. So Christiaan is a very accomplished NVC trainer in the Netherlands and Europe. Christiaan, would you tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to doing what you're doing?
Sure, and I will try to keep it brief for now. I came to nonviolent communication through the practice and teaching of Aikido, a Japanese movement art, so you will. And nonviolent communication provided me with a set of everyday skills that I could use and share with people to support a particular kind of connection where there is both the ability and the space to be clear and at the same time be caring for other people as well. And I remember us going to Waterloo in Belgium as a way of getting acquainted. You also with your background in Aikido, and after that I followed you and John Kenyon in your work in mediation. So the work that I'm doing is centering around supporting myself and people around me and people in the working setting to create optimal circumstances where connection and collaboration can happen. And it's an ongoing path of exploration for me. So that's maybe the short version.
Okay. And if people want to get hold of you, what is your work engagement at this point? This eye opener is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So I have two ways many ways people can reach me, of course, especially nowadays. I'm working with a team of trainers in a corporation that's called Eye Opener. It can be found online. That's AE with a hyphen and then opener.nl. And sometimes when people ask me for out of the ordinary things that are not so easy to fit into nonviolent communication training or mediation, then they tend to find me at another website, which is bisho, bisho.nl, which is sort of an umbrella for all kinds of activities that I tend to do. And okay. I think that's easy for people to find me there.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you're in your home where you live with your wife and your two sons.
Yeah.
And that you're very involved in the family.
Very much so. Yeah, that's true. I live in the north of Holland, a quiet place, which work-wise is not always easy because I go out and travel a lot. But I love to be in this place because this is where my wife and my sons are. My younger son is quite ill at the moment. So for the past months, my life again has been turned upside down, and even more than before, my commitment now is with being at home, caring for all of us. Yeah, I think it's related to the part of the exercise that we will be doing.
Yes.
So it's both very rewarding and intense as well.
Okay.
And maybe in the background you can hear the sounds of either the family or the farmers cutting the grass. So that's an additional benefit.
Okay. So I want to bring us back to what we're doing here. And this is the book that we're working from. And on page 26, this listening and being listened to exercise starts, and it goes through page 30. Key to this is these 4 elements of empathy, which I've treated in earlier videos. And then in the book, it has a version 1 and version 2. That's a way of getting your feet wet in the exercise so that you can begin to get all the pieces together. In what Christiaan and I are going to do, I'm going to set a timer. We're going to do the 6-minute exercise. This is, again, him as a practice partner. He and I are practice partners. And I'm going to set this, and then I'm going to demonstrate. He's going to say something that's important to him, and I'm going to listen. And the first 2 minutes of this 6-minute exercise are me listening silently. And then the next 2 minutes will be beginning to engage him in making sure I understand what he's saying. And then finally, the last 2 minutes in supporting him to identify the needs that are up for him. And hopefully you'll be able to, if you look at a timer, you'll be able to see where I'm beginning to do each of these stages. But I'm not gonna say when I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm just gonna do the exercise. Also, I wanna bring the viewer's attention to the flight simulator practice, which in the English version of this book is at page 60 through to the end of the book, 62. And starting the practice session, Christiaan and I have essentially done those elements, and then we're setting up, and we've decided who's going to do the role play, and then he's going to start. So let's take a breath to, at least I would like to do a little self-connection silently myself, because I'm sort of keyed up on this recording. And of course, the key thing for me as the listener is to be present, and then to do this second 2 minutes and the final 2 minutes. Those are I'm saying and engaging, but throughout this all I'm practicing to the extent I can being present. So Christiaan, you're gonna tell us about something that's important to you. And would you tell us a little bit about what it is?
Yeah. I just share that my youngest son is quite ill, and that I'm spending my time mostly taking care of him, of our family. And at the same time, it opens up all kinds of thoughts about what is meaningful, and what is meaningful for me in life, ranging from a very general, or maybe not general, but being very much aware that my son is very important to me, and our relationship is very meaningful. And at the same time, I'm noticing in myself some distance towards the work that I normally do, like doing trainings or mediations, and although I don't experience a lot of space to actually do trainings or do mediations, I'm thinking about it quite a lot. And I'm seeing people on LinkedIn promoting themselves and their work. And I noticed in myself a big distance and a growing distance towards, you could say, that kind of world where people are promoting themselves and their work, and basically saying, okay, look, here I am, and please come to me because what I have to offer is so valuable. And my physical reaction and all the judgment I'm having seem to clearly point me in the direction of, okay, this is not something that I want to be involved in. I don't want to spend my time doing that. And of course, at the moment, while I'm spending most of my time caring, there is no urgency to make decisions. It also seems clear for me that it's hard for me to go back to this world where I'm spending my time giving trainings, doing mediations between people who can't seem to collaborate that easily. And it's causing a lot of, it's taking a lot of energy of me away from that I want to be present with the situation at home. And somehow I seem to get stuck in thinking about what to do with my life when all this is over, something like that. Yeah.
So let me just see if I'm understanding. It's a time of reflection for you, and particularly with the illness of your son. It's like, how do you want to engage in the world, and how do you want to bring your work into the world? Is that it?
How do I want to engage with the world? That's even more to the point than the work part, because at this point I'm not so clear what I have to offer to the world, and that's it's complicated to relate to, at the same time being involved in a life and death situation at home, which is more meaningful than anything else, and that all the rest is it's almost like I'm telling myself that I need to be clear around that as well, whereas I'm not clear if it's so meaningful to me and to the world. So I have these big judgments around collaboration training and nonviolent communication training. Other people can do that way better than I do, and maybe the biggest contribution I have to offer this world is to care for my son these days, and then to make sure the apples are plucked from the tree, and there's food on the table every night, and maybe that's it. And in a way, it's also funny to me, because then I mentioned LinkedIn. When I have a look at LinkedIn or social media, I don't do it that often, but when I do, then I drift off into this world of not being, not necessarily not good enough, but I should be focused on things that seem important, namely, look at the incredible training that I'm doing, or the important mediation work. Yeah.
So let me check in again. It's is this what you're saying, or an aspect of what you're saying, is that with the meaning and the importance to you of this life and death situation with your son, that it's putting your work kind of in a different perspective, for you, and you're struggling with that change. And
yeah, and what's clear for me is it's also about work, but it's of course it's also about me. I'm struggling with this change in me. Yeah.
And just wanting to have clarity about how you do look at life and what meaning means to you about your life. What is meaningful in your life?
Yeah, and clarity in the sense of some felt sense of trust and I guess trust that what I'm doing is the one thing that I could be doing, and that's quite clear for me in caring for my family. There's no question there, and I can feel I can feel in my body how clear it gets. So the clarity you were saying, and I would love that sense also in my work. Yeah.
Well, we've gone a little bit over the 6 minutes. I'm wondering if it's okay with you to stop.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then we'll go into the debrief. And typically, I ask the person who was speaking to debrief first. I have a real urgency to tell you. That I'm quite moved hearing what you're going through and seeing echoes in my life. I'm at a different stage in my life. I'm towards the end of my years, and you have these young boys, but nonetheless quite moved. So then I'd like to shift it to you to say, how was that for you to say what you said?
It's providing me with some space to from the many conversations I'm having with myself inwardly to speak it out and to speak it out into in the presence of you, so to speak. So so I have this sense of how it provided me with space and some clarity that there's that I touched upon the tip of the iceberg. So there's in my body a lot that
there's more for you to get
at.
Yeah.
And then so that's also clear.
Yeah.
It provided me with space to express. Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any more feedback than what I already gave. I want to thank you very much for your willingness to do this, Christiaan. And I welcome the viewers of this to comment in the comment sections and to continue on with this course and practice with your practice partners. And again, thank you, Christiaan. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you.